Number 1 Jesuit made it look like dummy scrimmage against North Eugene. Diallo Lewis to Chris Zavris, and Danny Ainge's school was down 6 diddly. Jesuit is the surprise of the year. This Diallo Lewis kid can throw on a dime to his homie Arnold Gunn, and Arnold Gunn hightails it all the way down to the 3-yard line before being forced out. Besides being good, Jesuit was lucky. Woody Green Jr. lost it, got it back. 20-0 Jesuit there. Jesuit over North Eugene, 27-2 squat down to Eugene. Glencoe at Willamette, and the show belonged to number 41, Jim Rufner. Rufner gained 217 yards in only 3/4 of play. That set up the 3-yard run by Jason Treller, and it was 6-0 Glencoe, and the Crimson Tide never looked back. They came a long way to lay a whipping on Willamette and did not waste any time doing it. Second quarter, and Willamette is deep in its territory. It's picked off by number 20, Tony Cox. 18-0 Glencoe at halftime, and it was all over. First play of the third quarter, and Ryan Schlegel runs behind that big daddy offensive line of his. Glencoe stomps Willamette 39-8, and for the big showdown between Gresham and Grants Pass, here's my partner, running and shots.
Grants Pass made the long bus trip a very worthwhile one. The mighty Cavemen took it right to third-ranked Gresham, using quick, effective passing routes on their first possession to score. Tom Blanchard finds Brad Sisk, who slices through the Gopher defense for the touchdown. 7-zip Grants Pass. The Caveman defense really dug in and harassed Curtis Lowe most of the night, but late in the half, a long completion set up Todd McLean's 4th and goal touchdown, 7-all at the break. The Gophers came out cooking in the third quarter, but coughed it up deep in Caveman territory here, and that would cost them big time. Blanchard took his buddies right downfield, again hitting key third down passes along the way. Then the huge play. Kenny McDonald looks like he wants to throw it off the reverse. Can't find anybody and reverses his field. Kenny keeps his feet, makes the cuts, goes all the way to the Gresham 1. That set up the quarterback sneak. Grants Pass stuns number 3 Gresham 17-7. Upset, spicing up the Class 4A playoffs. Ann Schatz, Newsroom 6 Sports.
Okay, the great Texas blues man, Albert Collins, is in town tonight. And in case you missed him, the master of the Telecaster is standing by to help us check out the rest of the Little Daddies. So debonair Dennis DeKay, a little traveling music, please. Big upsets tonight.
Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to Channel 2 Sports Extra. It's playoff time with 32 Class 4A teams sharing the same dream, winning the state football championship. Tonight, those 32 teams set out to tackle their goal, with only 16 surviving the first round. First stop tonight is Jesuit High School. The unbeaten Crusaders entered the playoffs ranked number 1 in state, hosting North Eugene. Diallo Lewis to Chris Zervis, already 6-0 Jesuit on top. Next possession, North Eugene tries to get it back, but the play backfires. Derek Downs intercepted by Tim O'Brien, and he takes it home. 24 yards for the touchdown, 14-0 Jesuit. Crusaders keep pouring it on. Watch Lewis air it out to Arnold Gunn. The play is good for 58 yards, and it takes the ball all the way down to the North Eugene 6. From there, they pitch the ball to Woody Green, and he does the rest. Jesuit jumps out to a quick 20-0 lead and cruises into the second round with a 27-0 win over North Eugene. Another Metro Power shooting for a state title is Sunset. Tonight, the Apollos played host to Bend, and the Apollos let it all hang out. They strike through the air. Dak Jordan to Chad Alfonso, 18 yards down to the Bend 6. It sets up a Sunset touchdown, and it's Eric Martin getting the call. He sweeps and scores. Sunset on a roll with a 27-7 lead. That run pumps up Martin because he's back on the move when he gets his hands on the ball again. This time a great effort. Martin breaks a ton of tackles down to the Bend 13. What a run. And then Sunset goes back to the air. Jordan to Alfonso, and that does it. Sunset rolls over Bend 34-10. One team many feel has a legitimate shot at the state title is unbeaten and second-ranked South Salem. The Saxons' first-round opponent was Marshall. They had the spirit in South Salem tonight. Look at those nifty Channel 2 hats. The big story in this one is Joe Douglas. Marshall doesn't come close to stopping the Saxons' main man, and Douglas makes him pay. After a gain of 27, Joe rips off another long run. This is good for 16 yards down to the Marshall 1. It sets up a touchdown and a 7-0 South Salem lead. Oh, but Douglas isn't finished yet. Watch this. Another huge gain. 38 yards to be exact. And once again, South Salem on the move. This effort takes the ball to the Marshall 7, and the Saxons are knocking at the door again. South Salem goes to Bill Peters. Another touchdown. Saxons, they roll into the second round with a 41-0 win over Marshall. Another PIL Valley League showdown took place at McNary High School, where the Celtics took on Benson. And what a battle this is. 35 seconds left in the first half, and Benson scores on Jerry Bushman's touchdown pass. Techman lead 14-13 at the half. They increased that margin on the reverse. The Techman reach paid dirt again, thanks to Derek Miller, and Benson leads 20-13. But this one is far from being over. 4 minutes left. McNary ties it up. Jeff Crampton rushed for 174 yards on the night. This touchdown sends the game into overtime, tied at 20. And it's Crampton doing a number in OT. He grinds out 8 yards, setting up the game-winning touchdown. And then watch, the McNary defense saves the day. Todd Penrod with the sack, and McNary beats Benson in overtime, 26-20. Moving along to the Three Rivers League. Oregon City battled tough all year, but didn't clinch the league championship until the final week of the regular season. Tonight, the Pioneers opened their playoff drive with a key matchup against defending co-champion Tigard, and watch the Tigers' Sean Weeding on the kickoff return to open the second half. What a big play. 90 yards and the touchdown. Tigard pulls within 14-12. And that play charges up the Tigers. Watch Matthew Boydston go right up the middle, 30 yards in the touch. Tigard takes the lead and never gives it up, 20-14. Tigard opens the fourth with a monster drive that takes up 8 minutes on the clock. Weeding does big damage on the ground, and the Tigers are on their way. When Sean scores from the one, Tigard completes a 28-20 win over Oregon City. An upset at Oregon City. Lake Ridge enjoyed a solid regular season, and they entered this week's playoffs ranked 10th in state. The Pacers drew an opening round home game against Marshfield, and you talk about a game of big plays. Watch this. First play from scrimmage for Marshfield, they explode. His name is Joseph Lehman, and he's gone 67 yards for the touchdown, 6-0 Marshfield. Pirates' next possession once again produces another huge play. Chris Peach on the punt return, he fields on his own 10, and he doesn't stop until he's in the end zone 90 yards away. That's right, a 90-yard punt return, and Marshfield leads 12-0. It's not over yet. Marshfield does it again, this time on the quarterback keeper. Mark Helfrich is good for 64 yards and the touchdown. Marshfield stuns Lake Ridge with a big play for an 18-14 win. It's playoff night on Channel 2 Sports Extra. Join us when we come back because we have a lot more action to share with you. Still to come, 2 more PIL teams in action as Jefferson and Wilson open their playoff seasons. We'll have highlights and much more next on Channel 2 Sports Extra. They set out to prove they belong in this year's playoffs, hosting Mazama in first-round action at Civic Stadium. Jefferson jumps to a quick lead. Anthony Green with a tough run to reach pay dirt. 6-0 Democrats on top, but Mazama comes back in a big way. The flea flicker, Travis Olson to Glenn Cannon, beautiful play. Mazama leads for good, 7-6. They add to the cushion later when Jamie Hubble powers his way home. Watch him. Mazama scores one more time to close out a 20-6 win. Jefferson is finished for the year. So that put the pressure on PIL champion Wilson. Could the Trojans keep their season alive? We take you out to Civic Stadium where Larry Keck's crew played host to Reynolds, a team with only 3 wins this year, but still a playoff team. You're watching Carl Brody score from 24 yards. Reynolds down only 14-8. Down 21-14, Reynolds goes for the equalizer, and they get it in the fourth quarter. Carl Brody from 3 yards out. We're even at 21, heading to overtime. And then it's a battle of field goals. Reynolds' Kobe Robinette connects with his pressure-packed kick, 24-21 Reynolds. Then it's do or die for Wilson, and they can't come through. Chris Graham misses his field goal to tie. And you have the stunner of the night. Reynolds, with just 3 wins, knocks off PIL champion Wilson 24-21 in overtime. Another team many feel can push for a state championship is Gresham. The Gophers entered the second season with just 1 loss and a number 3 ranking in state. Tonight, Gresham played host to Grants Pass, and it was a tough one. Caveman on the move first. Scott Paletto, rather Tom Blanchard to Brad Sisk, 16 yards. Grants Pass stuns Gresham early for a 7-0 lead. But Gresham battles back. Curtis Loeb to his favorite receiver, John Valadez, and it's a big one. 50 yards worth, and Gresham's on the move. The ball goes all the way down to the Grants Pass 2, setting up a touchdown to tie the game at 7. But credit Grants Pass, they're not intimidated. Tom Blanchard airs it out to Don Wall. The play is good for 50 yards, taking the ball all the way inside the Gresham 5. Grants Pass can't punch it in, so they settle for the field goal and a stunning 17-7 upset of third-ranked Gresham. Another strong team from the Mount Hood Conference is Barlow. The Bruins hope to make a successful run in the playoffs. They open tonight at home against North Salem. But North Salem has Mark Santos, and he can get the job done on the ground. He strikes here, and his team is on top 21-7. But Barlow battles back, and it's quarterback Terry Hurt doing it on his own. Hurt keeps and picks up good yardage as Barlow tries to put together a drive, and they do. It's capped off by Hurt on the quarterback keeper. Barlow's 2-point conversion late in the 4th quarter beats North Salem tonight 36-35. Elsewhere, South Medford edges McKay 32-29, Newburgh 20, Sheldon 7. Ashland advances 29-22 over David Douglas. Milwaukee with a 12-7 win at Pendleton. Glencoe bombs Willamette 39-8, and Lake Oswego wins at Hermiston 16-6. Round 2 pairings look like this. Tigard takes on McNary. Newburgh goes up against Ashland. It'll be Jesuit and Mazama. Milwaukee will take on Barlow. South Medford will match up against Glencoe. Reynolds will take on Lake Oswego. South Salem will meet Sunset in what should be a dandy. And Grants Pass will go up against Marshfield. Still more to come on Channel 2 Sports Extra. Next, we take a look at the Class 3A state playoffs, including Sherwood and Sutherland. Also, Southwest Washington highlights and scores next on Channel 2 Sports Extra. Action in the Class 3A ranks tonight with third-ranked Sherwood taking on Sutherland. Sherwood has shown a devastating attack all year, and tonight was no different. Jeremy Williams for a 13-0 lead. And the floodgates are open. Take a look at Jason Porter. Everybody's covered, so he takes off. And you can say goodbye. 33 yards for the touchdown, and Sherwood's in the process of blowing this playoff opener wide open. Sherwood continues to pound the ball down the field. Ryan Evans from 10 yards out. They run the score up to 27-0. Then Sherwood puts an exclamation point on a big playoff win. Matt Potter from 7 yards, and the Bowman advance with a convincing 40-0 win. One other Class 3A final tonight. Philomath advances with a 22-7 win over Rainier. Not quite playoff time yet in Southwest Washington. Still some important league action to take care of. And Ron Carlson joins us now from the newsroom with the highlights and the scores. Ronnie?
Hello, Steve. Well, the Columbia River Chieftains wanted to wrap up their second Greater St. Helens League title in a row with a win in Kelso tonight, but you can't always get what you want. River's John Bruno is always dangerous, and he dials D for danger on this one. He's off like a toupee in a windstorm. It's an 82-yard run, and River will lead at 14-7 at the half. But Kelso, oh, they bounce back like a kangaroo on a trampoline. Matt Davis with the catch. Watch him. He'll knock down the door and then tiptoe right on in there. Kelso up 21-14 in the 4th. But River isn't through. Brian Alexander will keep it to himself. It's tied at 21 after regulation. To the Kansas plan. Ty Fotheringill will bust up Middle Avenue from 4 yards out. Kelso up 28-21. River answers back with another Alexander score, but on the extra point, those Highlanders act like Manute Bol. They block it, and Kelso wins it in overtime, 28-27. Now, that loss leaves Columbia River tied with Evergreen for the AAA title in the Greater St. Helens League, but River will advance to the playoffs because they defeated the Plainsmen earlier this year. Now, the big game of the year in the AA division took place last night when Battleground met Prairie. Both teams undefeated in league play. Prairie won this meeting last year to take the league title, and the Tigers, boy, were they looking for a payback. The Falcons in a mood to break loose, though, and nearly 5,000 fans are there to see them do it. This is Scooter Watts coming up, and he's going to break through the line and then he's off like a wool blanket on a hot night. A 51-yard score. The Falcons lead it 12-0 at the half. The Tigers, boy, they just can't put it together on offense. Bubba Egbert will lose his grip on this one, and Prairie's Jason Gladden is there to pick it up. Fourth quarter now. Let's move on. The Falcons prove they are the tough guys on the block coming up right here. Greg Daly will get through and stuff the punt, and Prairie will have the ball on the Tigers' 16-yard line. 4 plays later, it's Watts again. But watch this. The halfback pass on fourth down, and Gladden will take it in there. Prairie wins its third AA league title in a row. Falcons 19, Battleground 8, but this year both teams going to the playoffs starting on Tuesday night. Elsewhere, the Plainsmen win the big rivalry match with Mountain View. The Bay over the Fort by 5. Mark Morris finishes strong with a win over the Lumberjacks. White Salmon completes their undefeated season by shutting out Stevenson. And in action last night, Castle Rock over Ilwaco 21-12. And the Panthers take care of Ridgefield 56-25. Now, getting back to the playoff picture, Steve, Columbia River will travel north for a game next Friday, most likely against North Kitsap. And on Tuesday night, Battleground will travel north to play Shelton, while the Prairie Falcons will host Tumwater at District Stadium also on Tuesday night.
Okay, Ron, thanks very much. By the way, tuck in that wool blanket tonight, okay?
Okay, we'll do.
All right.
Thanks.
That wraps up another Sports Extra. Still a lot of playoff action coming your way, so join us next Friday with a complete report on Round 2. Have a great weekend, everybody. Nightline is next.